our brand new, the Relationship Exchange SMD. And before y'all be looking crazy, because somebody told me SMD stands for one thing, but tonight we are talking about single, married, and divorced.
That part.
So I'm with my host, my co-host, my girl, S. Marie. How are you tonight?
I am wonderful. I'm so glad to be back with the people going live. I miss us, honey. I miss us.
Yes, I miss us because for those of you who maybe this is the first time tuning in, this used to be the Wife Talk podcast, but we decided that it was so many people were like, hey, I'm single. Can I tune in? Hey, I'm in a relationship and, don't really know where it's going. It doesn't matter. We want you in. It's the relationship exchange. We're talking about whatever type of relationship you're in. And let's take it a step further. It doesn't even have to be a romantic, intimate relationship. It can be a business relationship. It can be a family relationship. Whatever ship you're in, this is the podcast that you need to be on, right? Because we're talking about it all. And I'm just excited because when we were doing Wife Talk, we had some phenomenal people on the show sending in their confessions and all of that. So we're going to kind of piggyback off of that a little bit. But S. Marie, how have you been? Because it's been a minute. I don't even really remember when our last show was.
It's been a couple months. We took a hiatus. Life was lifing. There's so many things been going on, just building and doing my work, corporate, but plus being of service, doing God's work. And I'm just so excited. I have to say it. I'm super excited to be back, to open the doors, as you said, to everyone. Any type of relationship you are in, it doesn't matter. We want to talk about it. We want to hear what's going on, offer words of wisdom, encouragement, motivation. We're here for y'all. That is all. That
We
is
are
what this is all.
here. That is the thing. We are here for you. And I'm telling y'all, it is so funny that as we've been trying to get ready, because we rebranded and, did a few things. And I'm talking about we've been sliding into the wire trying to make sure it's all good. But at the end of the day, it is about, everybody. You're in some type of relationship. And if it's, a relationship where, you really love that person and it's an intimate relationship, where you may see it going somewhere. Maybe y'all have been dating for a long time or for
Yeah,
years, or maybe it's a few days or months, and you're trying to figure out where it's going. We want you to give us the feedback. Come on here and chime in to the scenarios, because your input matters just like ours. We're not out here saying that we're professionals and we know it all, but we have been through some things. Matter of fact, the both of us have been single, married, and divorced. So
absolutely.
we got a little something that we can add to it, and it may be our perspective, but at the end of the day, your perspective can help someone else, because we all see things differently. And sometimes when you're in it, it's hard to see, that it can get better, or maybe you are on a cloud nine, honey. Y'all are just living life to the fullest and enjoying it. And if that's you, congratulations. So we love it for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. But again, there are always situations and people need advice, and that's what we're here for. Just ask the relationship exchange. Talk to us, vibe with us, chat with us, put your comments in, like us, follow us. We are here, as we said, for you, and we're also here to have some fun. We just want to have talk, conversation, and it's not all about, as she said, just one type of relationship. It's every relationship because
Yeah.
we struggle. None of us are perfect. And again, we have our moments. We are unstable. We are emotional. At the end of the day, the key thing is you're in a relationship of some sort and love exists. So you want to make sure you maintain those relationships and be the best you that you can be to make sure that you are doing your part to continue on with what you have going on and being open to the next person.
Exactly. And let me just go ahead and do a housekeeping thing. Across the bottom of your screen, it tells you thank you for joining the show with us. But we want you to like this show,
Share
like our page, because it's a brand new page, so we're building our audience. Go to the Relationship Exchange SMD, and follow us so you know when we're coming on. But we will be here every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But guess what? Just as we had wife confessions, we have the exchange confessions, baby. And so, with the exchange confessions, if you want to confess some things that are going on and you want to be anonymous, but you want to put your business out on Front Street so people can help you, make a decision or give you some advice, then go to bit.ly/exchange confession so that you may be the topic of next week or some of the following weeks. Or, you may just be getting booed up right now, and maybe around the holidays, you need some advice about, how to move or what to do, whatever that looks like. Hit us up. It's scrolling across the bottom, so you've got time to write it down. But we want to hear from you so that you can help us as we are doing topics for the remainder of the year and going forward. But tonight, tonight we're gonna go back and get you some juicy, good. Because I'm telling y'all, people be having things going on, and it might be your coworker, it might be your cousin. You don't know who it is, but we know that people are dealing with some stuff, right?
Indeed. And you know what? We're going to give them a treat tonight because we took that long hiatus and we had to rebrand. We're going to go through a couple of them. We're going to do two for sure. We might be able to get three. It just depends on the conversation, but we're going to go ahead and roll right on to it because we have some good ones. Okay.
Yes,
So
yes,
our
yes.
first wife confession, or oh, look at me. I'm rolling back. Our first relationship exchange confession, it comes from someone who needs some advice about financial literacy. And
Okay.
here it goes. I can't wait for you all to come back. I need a serious conversation about financial literacy and how things should go in a marriage. I grew up in a household where my dad paid all the bills and my mother used her money for simple stuff like clothes, food, etc. My husband grew up in a single home with his mother. His mother took care of all the responsibilities. So he thinks I should do more and go 50-50. I don't believe in that. And I feel he should accommodate my wishes because that is what I'm accustomed to. Am I wrong? How do we fix this? Neither of us believe in divorce, but this is a major problem and now I'm pregnant.
Ooh. Ooh, honey, listen.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be talking about money issues because y'all do know money is probably one of the top reasons, even before infidelity. Money is one of the top reasons for people getting divorced. So you're already dealing with that, and now you're pregnant. So of course that adds on to it. S. Marie, I'm gonna let you go on and hit that first.
Listen, because you know I'm ready.
I
you
know
know,
you're ready. Look, I can feel it.
look, so I got a couple. So, one, thank you for wishing us to come back. We are back, so we appreciate the support. And the following, we are sorry we let you down, but we are back in action. So that's first and foremost. Two, I want to address where you said you want to talk about how things should go in a marriage and how you grew up where your dad paid all the bills and your mother took care of the simple things, right? um, Here's what I'll say about this. When you are getting into a relationship, whether you're married, just dating, moving in together, when you take on that type of responsibility together, these are conversations that you have prior to.
Mm,
Don't get yourself so far into a relationship or an entanglement without having those type of conversations,
yeah.
because you can't do what your mama and them used to do. And I did say in them, okay, because
Mama and them,
that's
right.
them.
Mama and
That's
grandmama
what,
and them, yeah.
but that's what happened. Things were different, and I'm assuming you are of age. You're a little bit older, more than a millennial. So I would say this: what worked for them may not work for you in your relationship, and things were different. Milk wasn't $4, bread wasn't $3. Things were very different, and it was normal for the mother to stay at home and do the simple things, or have a job washing clothes or washing someone else's kid, or finding a way to to hustle up a little bit of money to do what she needed to do. That was normal back then, or at one point in time. But at the same time, 3 years ago is not today. I mean, it's difficult to assume that you're going to have that same relationship or same household situation that you had back then than you do now. So never assume. Always have those conversations, because again, that can make or break a relationship. And money is the root of all evil. Never allow something as petty as that to come in between a relationship when you could have addressed that way before. So that's part two. As far as your spouse going into a single home, shout out to his mom for that. It's difficult being a single mom, but it's also difficult being a married mom as well. So absolutely, that may be, he holds his mother to a high standard. And most men who watch their mother struggle or make ends meet with one or more kids, that's normal. So it's not that he's trying to, be disrespectful or petty. Again, that's what he's accustomed to. So you made a comment a little bit down where you said he thinks we should go 50-50, but I feel like he should accommodate my wishes because your words, not mine, that's what I'm accustomed to. So again, don't I don't want to call you selfish, but just look at the other side of the pot, right? He's accustomed to a woman doing everything. So what if he said, "Hey, I just want to sit at home and watch you work"? How would you feel? Now, I'm not saying that's right. Don't say S. Marie said. That's not what I'm saying. I just want you to look at it from a different point of view. Things are different, and I'm not trying to tell you how your household should go, but what I believe is conversation should be had and compromise is necessary. It's important to compromise with your spouse. So if he's saying 50-50 and that's not something you want to do, then hey, talk to him about a 70-30, 80-20. There are a lot of, marriages or relationships that have that type of agreement. One person says, "Hey, I pay the mortgage, but you pay these bills." It may not be a lot, or hey, do what you can do with a part-time job. But also consider this, with bills, and now you're pregnant. Now, if you're working already, it doesn't say whether you are or you're not. Let me tell you, daycare is a beast. Okay. Daycare is no joke. So that's another bill. That's another mortgage. I've heard where, some daycares are charging $300 and $400 a week. Okay, that could be 1,000 plus 1,200, 14, whatever, depending on how many children you plan to have. So before you go any further in this pregnancy, I think you guys need to really come up with a plan that's going to work for you. Throw out what you saw as a child out, because the key thing in a marriage is you have to make your own traditions. Don't raise your children saying, "Well, my mama said or my daddy said." If you believe it, then state that's what you believe. This is what you and your spouse have decided, that this is what you want to do. Never allow someone else's relationship and traditions and beliefs to dictate how your household is run. Because when we do that, again, I'm not calling anyone the devil, but you're letting outside influence come in. And sometimes it can feel like the devil is on you, because it deters you from creating this sound relationship that you're trying to build. So I know that's a lot, but again, at the end of the day, make your own traditions. Make sure you communicate. This is something that A Love and I talked about plenty of times in, season one, where communication and compromise will be your best friend when you are in any type of relationship. And it's not just my girlfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. It's any relationship, friendship, familyship, whatever. Communication is going to be the key to any successful situation, because everyone has an understanding. Everyone needs clarity. When you don't have clarity, that opens the door for confusion, assumptions, and we don't need anyone to assume anything. So just make sure you take the time to, set the tone and have a really good conversation, but make sure that you're also looking at it from the other side of the house.
Period. I love that response. Love the response. Let me go to Lakeisha's here. Hey, Lakeisha. She says,
Hey,
glad we're back. Thank you. Now she made a comment, so I'm gonna put it up here and then read it. A good man will not always fit our expectations of what we feel a good man to
Right.
be. Some women are still stuck with those fairy tale expectations and reality of it is of what it is, and it may not be possible in today's world. Does
Indeed.
not make that man less of a good man just because he can't do what you saw your granddad or your dad do back in the day. And that's some reality for your behind,
Absolutely.
period. Because this is the thing, we all want certain things in relationships. Number one, you need to know what you want before you even get into a relationship. So
Yes.
that way, when y'all have had that conversation, you would have already known, oh, no, 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 boo, I'm expecting this. So that way, you could have saved yourself some trouble before y'all got here. However, you're here now. So the next thing would be, y'all really need to sit down and think about what kind of life you want to have.
Mm,
Because if the lifestyle of him paying all the bills and you're just paying, little bitty things or whatever, what kind of life does that have? Because there has to be compromise. If
mhm.
you do that, then does that mean that you're not going to the movies, you're not going out to eat, you cooking all the time, you taking care of all the other responsibilities? What does that look like, and are you okay with that? On the
Right.
flip side, if you do 50-50, what does that mean? Because if it's 50-50 and your job is not enough to cover half of the job bills, because the way things are set up now, it takes a lot of money to run a household,
Absolutely.
no matter how many people are in it. So if that's the case, then does 50-50 mean that you're going to be working two jobs to do it, or he has to work two jobs to handle the other half? Or what does that look like? And what will it look like when the baby is born? Because like Marie said, childcare is expensive as I don't know what. And so, will you be taken off to stay with the baby for until it goes to pre-K or kindergarten? If so, what does that look like? Would that mean that your spouse has got to go out and work two jobs or whatever? Does it mean that you and your baby never get to see the man in the household? And so now you feel like a single mother.
Right.
So you got to sit back and worst case scenario, instead of trying to figure out what his mom did and what your dad did, how about y'all consider the fact of, let's just put our money together.
Mm,
Everybody, take out 20% or whatever for him, and you put it to the side so y'all can do what you want to do, and then put everything else together and then pay everything out of that. That way it's not about half here, who do whatever. It's
mm,
you guys coming together to take care of your responsibilities. What's left over, then you manage that. Whether we need to invest that, whether we need to, take a trip with that, whether we need to invest the rest of that towards the baby and childcare because I'm both of us need to work, whatever that looks like. But you got to have a conversation. It can't be, this is my expectation. It can't be, this is what I'm used to. Because let me go and put Lakeisha back up here. She said 50-50 means if I'm working and he's working, we both sharing these chores. And that's the reality, because you have to have that conversation. If we're putting in, how does it change the dynamics of a household? Because trust and believe, if somebody's out here pulling double time and doing all these other things to make sure that you all live like you want to, are you really expecting them to be the person that's going to come in and help with the baby and
absolutely.
do all these other things, washing stuff? You got to find a balance, and you got to let go of the preconceived and think about you and your family, because that's really what matters. It doesn't matter what everybody else did back in the day. What matters is what's going to work for you and your household. And if y'all don't believe in divorce, then y'all need to have the conversation and figure out what life looks like if we do A, B, or C, and
Absolutely.
then make a decision and go with it.
Absolutely. Now that's more than a word. That's it. It is definitely exactly what you said. These preconceived notions that people have about someone else, we're all different. We're all unique. I will always say that what works for the goose is not going
Mm-hmm.
to work for the chicken. Okay. It's not the same. And you really have to define what your happiness looks like. And you said something that made me think about this. I want you to also consider, if your spouse is doing everything for the house, think about the relationship or the lack thereof that your child will have with their parent, because that individual is always gone. too tired to do anything after work, not home, unable to attend, football games or soccer games or cheerleading or whatever it is. So just think about the good of both and not just one. And again, he may say, you know what, babe, hey, yeah, it's gonna work. I do need you to do this. Then if he said, he says, I'm cool with you being at home, then make sure you do your part as well, because that is a blessing to have someone who says, hey, I can make this happen. I just need you to do X, Y, and Z. Make sure you hold up your end of the bargain, regardless of which way it goes. Just be willing to do your part because that's what's going to make it successful. So,
Exactly. And
all
again, it is the communication, because one thing about it, something may start off a certain way, but people get hurt on the job. People have
right.
illnesses that come up, and it can change the dynamic. So the
Ab-
thing about it is, when you have open communication and talk about, okay, this is how I feel, and this is what this, whatever it is, put it on the table so both of y'all can share in a good, healthy place. Because sometimes people don't want to have conversations because they don't feel like the other person's going to listen. They don't want to have an argument, or they keep it to themselves, and then you blow up later on down the line and you expect somebody to read your mind. People
abs-
can't read your mind. So as grown adults, you have to be able to put something on the table and have a conversation about it and do what works. But at the same time, understand that it works today, but what about 5 years from now? What about 10 years from now? Things
Absolutely.
can easily change. And so you got to have something in place that's going to work and be flexible. It can't be where both of you all are so stuck in your ways that you don't want to do anything. And Lakeisha said, exactly, Esmery, balancing the responsibilities will resolve so many issues.
Indeed, indeed. You have to have a balance and you have to have boundaries as well. So, there's
Yes.
always going to be something that someone is willing to do or someone is not willing to do. Those conversations are key. That's your key to success. Communication, boundaries, compromise, and make sure that you constantly love, make sure that love continues to be a priority for both. Because often when we get so consumed with different situations or being angry or being emotional or getting our way, we start to deter from truly loving the person that we're with because we're allowing other things to seep in. And that's really not what marriage is about. So just definitely, keep your mind and heart open. And I will always tell people, pray about it. I pray over any everything before I speak a word. I definitely try to pray because I'm raspy a little bit sometimes. So, pray pray
Exactly.
over your words and make sure you have that conversation and you go in with a humble mind and heart, because it will be received a whole lot different than if you come in there, again, your tone wasn't bad at all. It's just, hey, I'm accustomed to this. So if you go
Right.
in with a little aggression saying, I'm accustomed to this and this is what you should do, it's not going to be received well depending on that person's sign or personality. So again, you know your spouse better than any of us. So at this point, just make sure that you communicate in a way that he can understand and he is going to listen to your mind and your heart and how you're feeling and then be willing to compromise with you as well.
Listen, you said two things in that I want people to put that on paper, baby. You said the CC and the BB. CC is communication and compromise. BB is boundaries and balance.
Absolutely.
Work with that. I always think of, let me get this CC together, let me get this BB together. If you get those together, it's going to really help you in your relationship.
Absolutely. Love that. Thank you so much for submitting that. We love it. This is what we are here for. And we just want to continue to be a blessing to you guys and give you a floor, give you the floor to have these conversations with people. And as you see, Lakeisha is definitely one of our beloved friends.
Yes, and
She
here,
also has a
Tom is
wonderful
popping.
show. So she loves to chime in and she gives some really, really good advice. So again, it's not just a love and I. There are a plethora of people who are willing to support. And you never know, someone on the listening end may have your same situation and they may be able to give you some advice on how they handled it as well. So again, just keep your mind and heart open and always be humble. But with
Exactly.
that being said, we will move on to number
On
two.
to the next one. On to the next one.
Next one. Now listen, y'all.
Ah! This one right here. Ooh.
Listen, don't judge us now. We listen. We are reading and conversating about what you guys want to talk about. Okay.
Right.
I had to have like I had to have my big girl glasses on today. I was like, what
Right.
is that? So wife confessions number 2, Virgin Jane. She says, ladies, I am single, but I met this guy and I'm a virgin. He wants to have sex, but I want to wait until I'm married. It's been 7 months and we've talked about marriage and he wants to, oh, excuse me, he wants to propose. Do you think I should? I know he is the one, but we are not married. I can't lose him, but I waited this long. I feel I should wait until I at least get a ring. I guess my question is, am I wrong for holding out knowing we will get married? Okay.
Okay. Hmm. Let me
Start-
jump on in on that
you
one
can
first.
see this one.
I'll jump on this one. So I'm gonna say this. As a virgin, there's a lot of people in this world who haven't had the discipline, the courage, the standards, um, any of those things to be a virgin. The fact that you decided that you wanted to wait until you're married to make love to your husband,
Absolutely.
that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
When you set yourself, again, a boundary to say that, hey, I want to wait until I get married. A ring is not being married. A proposal is not being married.
Mm-mm.
I just want to say that for some people, the beauty is I want to make love to my husband. Not many people get a chance to say that with that being the first time. And so I would say that if you decided that you're going to be a virgin, then if you waited 7 months or 9 months or 10 years or whatever your time period is, if y'all are going to get married, then get married and have make love to your husband. It doesn't don't change because you feel like, okay, I'm getting a ring and I don't want to lose him. Because my thing now is, are you wanting to make love to him because you're trying to keep him?
Mm.
And if you're afraid that you're going to lose him because you don't, then maybe that's not the man that you're supposed to be marrying. Because if he knows that you're a virgin and it's already been 7 months, then whenever y'all decide to get married, he's going to wait for that because he understands how precious that gift is. He understands that not everybody's going to have a wife that's a virgin. That's just the reality of society today. It's going to be a rare occasion where people are going to say, oh, my wife, I'm the first person and I was married to her. Not the first person to ever have sex with them, but the first time she had sex was with me as
Mm-hmm.
my wife. That's
Absolutely.
beautiful. Don't change that for anything or anybody. That would be my thing. And if he's the right man for you, if he's the one God gave you, he already knows that, and he's not going to rush you. He's not going to make you compromise. Because this is the thing: if you compromise your values now, something along the line will cause you to compromise your values again. So how you do one thing is typically how you do all the other things. And this right here, you can't be feeling pressure to do something that you hadn't been wanting to do. And I'm not saying that, you don't get to a point where you feel like, oh, I got to do it. But at the same time, it shouldn't be because you're afraid to lose him. So my advice would be, if you're a virgin now, and you are a virgin 7 months later, then you can stay a virgin until the night of. And once you say I do, and once it's official, then baby, you can be as buck wild and happy and freaked out as you want to be. But until then, hold tight to what you got because things happen. People get engaged all the time and never get married. So don't let that be something that makes you feel like, oh, this is the green light. I can go. Let me see.
Indeed.
Look, my girl Lakeisha's up in the comments. Let me see what she's saying. Okay, she said, "Girl, he waited that long already. Go marry that man tomorrow." I'm just kidding, right? Then she said, "Girl, I've waited that long and stayed. You better go marry that man tomorrow and give him some." And then she said, "That is beautiful. And I applaud you for being taking a stand for your values and your worth."
Absolutely.
Again, it's not promised just because
No,
y'all, are engaged. It's not a guarantee. And prayerfully y'all move through it and y'all get together and y'all say I do, and your wedding night is going to be amazing. But take your time and get there. Or
y-
get there, you know what I'm saying? Marry him tomorrow and go ahead and do it. But wait until you're married, would be my opinion.
you're okay. And that's wonderful. So I agree with what you're saying. I will say this though. It does say we talked about marriage and he wants to propose.
Huh?
So I don't know if that's an assumption. Just because you've had the conversation, I
Right.
can assume. So here's what I will say. One, anyone who puts pressure on you to do something that you don't want to do or makes you feel like you should because you might lose that friendship or that relationship, that's not something you want to keep. Let them go. Open that door so wide, baby, and let the wind and the air and the breeze just push that individual right on
Amen.
through.
Red flag city.
That's definitely a red flag. Compromising again is key. It's two parties when you're thinking about things like that. And I'm not saying this, trying to be funny because I, fully transparent here. I wasn't married the first time. Um,
Either.
at the end of the day, nothing should be pressure for you to do something that you vowed not to do. Think about who your vow was with and to. Obviously, you've done it for yourself, but you also have God in that, right? So you've made a commitment to Him and to yourself. No one is worth breaking a commitment that you've made with God, a covenant that you've had with Him, something that you've decided that you're going to keep to yourself until this day. Don't break that. No one is worth that. Not a soul is worth that. So that's one piece of advice. Um, Two, I agree with a love. If he's waited 7 months, he can wait another seven. He can wait another 7 years because love is not all about intimacy. It's a major part of it. Do not get me wrong. It is definitely a major part of it, but it's not the only part of it because there are three coils in a relationship: you, your spouse, and God, right? He put that union together. He brought that man to you. So the same way he brought you a good thing, if it's worthy, he's going to stay there. He's not going to bring you anything that's not good unless he's trying to teach you a lesson or trying to get you to open your eyes so you can decide what it is that you truly want. So conversation needs to be had. Never allow anyone to make you feel like you have to do something. You have to stand on your own 2 feet and make your own decisions. Obviously, you are an adult. Never allow anyone to pressure you. This is not high school. We're not trying to be cool kids and be in a club. Having values and morals and having faith, that's something we definitely should not play with. So I'm going to put my doctor hat on at this point. I want you to look at a few things. One, go to your Bible, right? First of all, pray. Pray for yourself and pray that you make the right decision. But then go to the Bible. Look at Proverbs 6:32, 1 Corinthians 6:18, and check out Matthew 15, verse 19. All of those talk about marriage, intimacy, adultery. Read those, and after you read those, sit on it for a little bit, contemplate on what you read, pray again, go back to it. Okay, yes, I said go back to it. That's 2 times. Go back to it. um think about this decision because again, who's to say that this is great and when he gets what he wants he's not going to go? It could be just as great to have this, oh, she's a virgin, oh, blah blah blah. That sounds really good, but again, if true love exists, he's going to wait. He's not going to pressure you. And I'm not judging this man either because it doesn't say that he is putting this pressure on you. What it says is that I know he is the one. I can't lose him. um it's really, I don't know if you're in your feelings and you're contemplating because you love him and you think that that's going to savor the flavor. Listen, if the flavor is worth being saved, it will flourish. It will be bright, juicy, and everything the day you get it, whether it's tomorrow or 7 years from now. So again, peer pressure is not a good thing. Never allow someone to take you to somewhere you don't want to go. And you only have 24 hours a day. Don't allow 1 second to be altered by someone else because they wanted you to do something that you did not want to do. You have to be your own individual, your own woman, and make sure that everything that you do is willingly, because you're the one who's going to have to sit with those emotions and that regret, especially if it doesn't work out or it's not what you thought it was going to be. The same way it's going to be the day you do it is going to be the same way it's going to be when you're married. And you know what? It's going to be even better because you made a commitment to that individual. You spent a lot of time in planning to make this union solid, so when you have that opportunity to really make it happen, it's definitely going to be worthwhile. So my advice is, you're contemplating on it. Obviously, it's not, you're not sure that you want to do it. So you definitely need to pray and make sure whatever decision you make is your decision and not anyone else. And it's not because you fear losing someone, because people come and go. I hate to say that, but that is our reality. People come and go in this life, whether it is voluntarily or involuntarily. And I will voluntarily let an individual go for a lot, trying to make me do something that I don't want to do. It's just not cute. It's really important to, have your own voice in whatever you do. So that's my advice. I know it was a lot. Again, Proverbs, Corinthians, Matthews, Romans. There's so many places in the Bible that you can go to have, to at least understand what God says. Because obviously you're a God-fearing woman. When you decided that you were going to wait, it was for a good reason. So make sure that you read those scriptures and just, speak with someone who is, who's been there, done that. Or I don't know if you're into church or you have a church home or a pastor that you can trust, or, there are wonderful churches that have women's ministry. Have conversations with someone like that, or a close friend who knows you. But more importantly, have that conversation with him before you have it with anyone else, and just really let him know how you feel once you determine what your choice really is, and then let him know how you're feeling. And again, if that there's conflict there, then I would say obviously continue to pray, but then go and speak with, your pastors, women, women in the church, or whoever you feel that you can trust. And it doesn't have to be, someone at church. It could be anyone whom you feel that you can get some solid advice from, someone who's not going to be biased. Again, these decisions really need to lie with you and no one else.
Period. Esther Marie, that was so good. She done gave you some scripture, honey. Sent you to the pastor to get some counseling, honey. Get you
Well,
some wise counsel. But I'll go back to Lakeisha, because baby, she is eating these comments up. She says a true marriage is a three-way covenant between God, you, and your man. If he's the one, he will also value the covenant you made with God, and he will honor it as well. So continue to wait, pray, and let it unfold the way God wants it to unfold. So
hmm,
there you have it. There it is.
it
Um,
no better than that.
hey, you can't get any better than that. So, Marie, are we moving to three, or are we gonna cut it and let Greg come
We,
back
you
next
know
week?
what? We're gonna run a whole hour if you're okay with that, A Love, because we've been gone
Roll
for
with it.
a minute. We're gonna push number 3 right on out.
Let's
Let's keep
roll with it.
fire. We want to keep that fire going. So let's read number 3. Now I'm gonna tell you number 3, baby. You thought number 2 was a good one. Let me tell you, number 3 is gonna have you out of your seat. I,
Baby.
I didn't have on pearls. I had on my Tiffany.
I
I had
know, right? We just had to clutch
Tiffany.
them jokers. Look.
I didn't have pearls to clutch, honey. But this one says, my husband does not satisfy me sexually. I love to explore different avenues of sexual interaction. He does not. My sex drive is really high, but my advances are often turned down. When it does happen, it's not very pleasing at all. No romance, nor foreplay, no foreplay, just in and out. I've expressed concerns to no avail. So my question is, do I continue to suffer in silence? That's from Kim K.
Go
Well,
ahead, Miss Marie. Miss Marie.
So I will say this, the fact that you had a conversation with your spouse about it is important. Um, Communication is always going to be your best friend. What saddens me is that you said it happens, you've expressed your concerns to no avail. When you have a spouse that's not listening, that's a problem. That's definitely a problem. Communication is key to a successful relationship. Listening is key. You have to hear your partner. If you want this relationship to last, both parties have to be willing to listen, but also be willing to compromise and please the other person. It's not a one-way street. It's definitely we both need to be satisfied because I can tell you what's going. She says my sex drive is high, but my advances are turned down. As a woman, we begin to look at those things like, okay, is this individual not happy with me? Is there someone else? Did I miss something? You start to do that three fingers pointing back at you, trying to figure out what you're doing wrong. And when an individual gets in that type of mindset, that can lead to depression. That could lead to extramarital affairs. If you're not married, it could lead to just downright cheating, whatever type of situation you have. So, definitely, I think that, you know, when you have this, pray about it. Again, I'm always going to tell people to pray. But when you pray, ask Him for clarity, ask Him for guidance and the right tone. Ask Him to provide you with the right words, because sometimes when we have conversations we don't always use the right words. And again, I'm telling you this not as a doctor and a coach and counselor. I'm telling you this as a woman. I'm guilty of it. I'm not always the best of the best. I don't always use the right words or have the right attitude because I get in my feelings and I feel that I need to be heard. And when I'm not heard, it's either I'm going to give you the silent treatment and pretend like you don't exist because I'm great at that, or I'm going to give you a lot of words that really aren't necessary. So, again, I'm guilty of it too. So, you have to be the bigger person. And I appreciate, as I said before, that you have had those conversations, but definitely when you are not so emotional and you can have that conversation, let this individual know, hey, this is how I feel. I want to do it every day. If we can't, that's fine. Can we at least do it two or three times a week? Or find out what is deterring this person from having this type of relation with you, because again, it may not be you. Maybe that individual is going through something that you aren't aware of. They could be ashamed to tell you, "Hey, I'm struggling with this, and I really didn't know how to tell you." So before you point the finger at yourself or assume that you're not or that person's just not into you, you really may want to make sure that there's nothing going on with that individual. It could be anything. I pray it's not cheating. I pray that it's something not so serious. That person could just be mentally tired or going through something and, unsure of how to talk about it. So open that door for some good communication, and express again how important it is to you, because our bodies change as women. As we get older, sometimes our hormones are on cloud 50, sometimes they on negative 10. Like, it just depends on how the wind blows. So you don't know what this individual is going through. I don't know if it's a male or a female. If it's a female, then listen, you might be on higher court. This might be her low season. If it's a male, you don't know what is going on with him. Their testosterone and body parts are very different. So again, you always want to look at the other side of the spectrum, because you don't want to just assume that it's just something bad. It could be something medical, it could be something mental, and mental health is real. It's very important. So don't assume, get that clarity, and make sure that this individual understands how it makes you feel. And be honest, I'm not a cheater. Hey, I don't want to cheat, or maybe I've cheated in the past, but my feelings for you are very strong. I want this to last forever. However, this is what I need for this relationship to thrive and be in a good space? And if it can't, what can we do to, start making progress to get to that point? Because right now I'm suffering in silence, and I don't want to suffer in silence. In any relationship, never suffer in silence. I've been there, done that. Is not a beautiful thing, and it definitely takes you down a path that you don't want to go. So keep your voice, but make sure that's a good voice, and make sure that you are listening, but also being very open and honest about how you feel, but just tone down the emotion, keep yourself humble, and again, pray for guidance on the right words, and your delivery, because delivery is everything. It's not always what you say, it's how you say it. If I say, girl, you need to brush your teeth, you're gonna be like, oh, she disrespectful. Like, hey, do you want some gum? Or hey, it's just different things. How you say something to people is very different than how they're perceiving it if your tone is not right. So definitely let that individual know that you're serious and that you're suffering and you want to maintain this relationship, but it is becoming unbearable.
That's good. Esma Marie, that's what I'm talking about. Dr. Esma Marie, honey, has dropped the knowledge on you. I want to go back because Lakeisha put a good question. And hey, Priscilla, um, she did agree with you what you said, right? Because men go through changes too. And
Absolutely.
then she said, and let me go to this one. She says, I pray, but be honest with yourself and be receptive to the answers, even if they are not the answers you wanted.
Indeed.
Because that is the reality of things. I don't know how long they've been together, but things change because her initial question was it satisfying beforehand? Because that was my question as well. If y'all started out and if you have a high sex drive, was he able to meet your sex drive in the beginning? Was it always that he just got in and got out? Was it always no foreplay? Because if you allowed that to happen in the beginning and didn't address it when
Right.
you needed and wanted more, then you've put yourself in a
That position.
problem position because you've allowed something to continue on. And now he's probably looking like, I've been doing this. What's the problem now? You didn't have a problem before. Why are you tripping now? And so we got to be, like Lakeisha said, you got to be honest with yourself about, where you are in this particular place and point in your relationship. And needs change. We grow and sometimes we grow at different rates. And as that happens, sometimes the libido is going to be high, sometimes it's going to be low.
Right.
Sometimes it's going to be due to health issues. Sometimes it's going to be due to mental issues. Sometimes it's going to be due to I do a whole lot and I just don't feel like it.
Right.
Whatever that looks like. And maybe he feels like, hey, at least you're getting it.
Right.
But at the same time, it has to be a conversation. And what I would suggest is that, y'all go somewhere away from the house, a nice neutral environment where nobody feels like they're being attacked. You know,
Absolutely.
one way or the other, because having those type of conversations about what you're liking in the bedroom, that is not a good place to have in your bedroom. That's not a good conversation place to have that. It has to be neutral because this is the thing. You don't want it to get to a point where it's anger and aggression going on there.
Absolutely.
Take it outside of the bedroom, set a nice tone where there's no aggression, and y'all feel safe to communicate like, baby, boo, listen, I love what we're doing. I enjoy you, always have, but here lately it seems like you used to give me foreplay. You used to be romantic. You used to do certain things, but you're not doing it now. And be specific because sometimes, you're just saying, hey, it ain't like it used to be, and they still looking at you like a deer in the headlight, like I don't really know what you're talking about.
Right.
Be
Right.
specific about what your needs are and say that, you know what, as I'm getting older, these hormones are changing, and now I'm over here, trying to get it every single day. I'm trying to be like a rabbit, and you over here trying to be like
Kermit the Frog.
something else. So have the conversation, but be realistic because again, sometimes you open up Pandora's box and the answers to your questions are not going to be what you expect or what you want. So you gotta, kind of be prepared when you go there. Because again, You don't suffer in silence. You don't have to.
Yeah,
I mean, we're grown and we should be able to have these kind of conversations, with the person that you're married to or that you're in a relationship with. You should be able to have good conversation and work through it. And, the reality is sometimes you outgrow each other. And, if this is a deal breaker for you, because of course, people have deal breakers, whether it's finances, whether it's sex, whether it's, infidelity. Last season we had a lady that talked about introducing somebody new into their bedroom to help spice
right.
up their sex life. I'm not a proponent of that, but she seemed to think it worked for them. You got to have a conversation to figure out where you all are at this stage of your relationship, and how do you move forward if you're not going to get what you need or what you want, or
Absolutely.
this person is saying, you know what, I'm doing, I'm barely giving you what you need because my interest is no longer here, and now I'm just going to have to, and it's unfortunate that it gets like that, but a lot of times we miss the signs until it's too late.
Absolutely. Yes, that's important too. Sometimes we do wait too late to have these conversations, and I know Lakeisha said these confessions.
Yes, honey, they was popping tonight, baby. All three of them were good.
We don't always have these type of conversations, but I love this, a love, because I want people to understand that we're here. There is no judgment. This is a judge free
Right.
zone. We definitely want to have these conversations that you need answers for. There might be people who are listening who can't have these conversations with someone else, so we definitely want to open the door. It's not always going to be about sexual or virginity or
Right.
anything. These were the ones that came about. We pray that we have many more, but we definitely want to address any question that you have about relationships. um, we want you to feel like you have a place where you can have a judge free zone, as I said, but also someone or people, as we have listeners, that will offer you some advice that makes sense, something that's going to relate to you. Again, and we're always going to, we do have a little fun, we crack jokes, but our intentions are truly good. At the end of the day, A Love is a certified life coach. I am also a certified life coach. I am also I have a PhD in counseling. I am a counselor, and this is what we do. So we want to be the voice of reasoning, but also allow you to see that if you have relationships, they are worth fighting for. You just have to do your part. And if you ever get to a point where you feel that you've done your part and it's still not working, again, we say pray, seek a counselor or someone to talk to, but just do your part. Don't be so quick to give up on these relationships, but at the same time, don't be so quick to get into these relationships that you lose your sense of self and decide that you want to be someone else for this other individual, because at the end of the day, this person might think that everything is peaches and cream, but you, again, as we said, may be suffering in silence, and that's not why God has us on this earth. We are here to be fruitful and to grow and to, be of service. So it's definitely not, suffering in silence or being sad or feeling like, we don't deserve happiness. Everyone deserves happiness. You always want to invite love, wisdom, and happiness into your life and into your home. And pray that it stays forever. Everything is not going to be perfect, but if I have to invite three things in my house, it's definitely going to be love, wisdom, and happiness. Wealth is not, I know a lot of people say, I need money. You know what? The more you have, the more you spend. And, when people know you have it, that becomes a problem. So I'm not saying it's a horrible thing, but again, for me, I definitely want wisdom because I want to be able to have discernment to make the right decisions. But I also want to truly be loved by someone and to feel that love, but also to give that love, letting that individual know what they mean to me, and to be happy. Because if you walk around miserable, you have 24 hours. If you sleep in 8 and you work in 8 or more, spending an hour or two in a car, or maybe, it's just getting ready, you've wasted a lot of your precious time on earth. And we can't rewind the clock. We can't go back to yesterday. If we could, there are so many times I would have went back if that were such a thing. So, this is not back to the future. This is real life. This is present and lives, but you just want to do your part.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, these confessionals, like Lakeisha said, they were great tonight. This
Absolutely.
is the thing. Hopefully, if you heard something that struck something in you, maybe you want to have conversations, whether you're married or if you're single, maybe you want to have these conversations before you move to the next level of getting married. Sometimes we allow ourselves to get caught up in the beauty of getting married that you fail to have certain conversations. And it's important. So take the time to talk to somebody maybe before it even gets to this point. If you notice that your sex life is not the way that you want it, if you notice that there's some issues we're having with money, if you notice that we're not communicating or there's no balance or boundaries or nobody's compromising, have the conversation now. Don't let it keep building up in you to where now you don't know you're going to blow up on somebody. Have a conversation now. Seek counseling now. If you see red flags, before you even say I do, deal with that. Because I'm telling you, whoever you're getting with, marriage doesn't make it better. Trust that. What you see now, a piece of paper doesn't change. It's not a magic wand that says and it's gonna be different. That doesn't. It's not reality. Whoever you're getting, that's what's gonna happen when you say I do. So if you see a red flag, this is the time to do it before you move forward, because again, this is SMD, single, married, and divorced. A lot of people are divorced because when they were single, they refused to look at or address the red flags that were in their face. So,
Mm.
but again, this was the first one. This was number one episode for our new rebranded podcast. It used to be Wife Talk. We decided to make it the Relationship Exchange, Single, Married, Divorce. So again, across the bottom, if you all want to follow us, go to the Relationship Exchange SMD, all social media platforms, and then check us out. If you want to submit an exchange confession so we can talk about it here on the show, go to bit.ly/exchange confession. Submit it. It can be anonymous. We won't mention your name at all. We're just going to read your stuff, and then we're going to give you our 2 cents on it, right? And we're going to let the people who are in the comments add theirs in too. So it's been amazing, honey. This hour is here. So thank you all for tuning in. I'm telling y'all, we are back. If y'all want to send us an email, go send it to the Relationship Exchange smd@gmail.com and let us know. But I'm telling y'all, this has been amazing. Priscilla, let me go and get Priscilla's comment. She said communication is the key to every situation. Counseling doesn't mean you can't get it right. It's an avenue to come together as one.
Absolutely. Love that, Priscilla. Thank you for that.
That is good. Thank you, Lakeisha. We appreciate y'all being on here. We have some people on the IG as well. So thank y'all for showing up. I'm telling y'all, hopefully it only gets better as we move forward. So that's the goal. And we will be back next Tuesday. So go ahead and go on over to the page and follow us now before you forget, because we're trying to build this page up, brand new page, and we're trying to build it up. And then, of course, make sure that you have an amazing rest of the week. And whoever you with, love people, because y'all know the next day is not promised. So love the one you with and be blessed. We're
Oh,
blessed to be blessed. So just be blessed. Live life. Feel good. It's all about coming together. Marie, you got anything else before we sign off?
no, we're gonna roll on now. We had an hour, so this has been a great show. We appreciate y'all. We will see you next week.
Bye.